Hello everyone and welcome back to my F1 2021 My Team Career Mode. This is the Italian Grand Prix in Season 3, Round 6 of 10 in this year's championship. We are looking good in the title fight. I don't exactly remember where we stand. It's been so long since the last episode, but we will find out at some point later on. But yeah, as for R&D, after practice we can now purchase the final upgrade ever on this car. So once this goes on, along with a handful of others that are in development at the moment, that'll be it. We will be maxed out, so that is awesome. But anyway, as you can see on the R&D chart, we are the fastest team in the sport, just ahead of Red Bull, so hopefully they don't have too many more upgrades in the tank, otherwise we could be in trouble. But anyway, Q1, and we have to make an overtake on Valtteri Bottas at the start of our lap. Probably didn't slow us down, in fact. He potentially gave us a good slipstream down to the first corner. We did run a little deep actually, so who knows, that could have worked for or against us there. But either way, we managed to get through the rest of the lap cleanly and cross the line and set a good enough lap time to get to second place in that session. Jenson Button tops the timesheets, so yeah, we have great pace here in the rain in Italy. So that is fantastic. Cars knocked out, the two Hasses at the back getting knocked out, along with the two Alfa Romeos and the two Aston Martins, so no good for them. That is very unfortunate. We haven't seen them getting knocked out too much, I don't think, but yeah, it's not gone their way today, and they are both knocked out in Q1. Very 2x2 back there, it has to be said, but anyway. We continue on to Q2. We have to overtake Matsushita on our qualifying lap. He too was on a flying lap, so we had to go full send there to make it work. We probably cost him a bit of time as well, but anyway, we because of that we will set 2 consecutive laps in Q2 just to make sure we get through. And you can see we have a purple first sector, and we would have gained time through that chicane, but actually made a mistake there anyway, so that zone of the track where we could have gained a lot of time ends up not being a huge benefit for us, and it's a green middle sector still, so we still gain time, but just not as much as we could have if we got through there a bit more nicely. But anyway, we come towards the line, and we do improve our time just slightly, and it's enough to put us 4th overall in the session. But the Red Bulls now showing their hand and going 1st and 3rd, with Jenson Button still showing great pace up in 2nd position, 4th place for us. So it's a kind of checkerboard of Red Bulls and Samurai cars. But yeah, Fernando Alonso doing a good job to get through into Q3, just sneaking in there at the bottom of the list, and Esteban Ocon getting knocked out down in 11th position. Nikita Mazepin in the Mercedes, the surprise there, getting knocked out. He should be getting through in that car, but he's usually has, but every now and again Fernando Alonso likes to sneak one in there. But yeah, anyway, we continue now on into Q3, and we've got a car ahead of us again, and it is Fernando Alonso. So probably the slowest car in the session in front of us is not ideal, and you can see we're just moving off the racing line there subtly, just to get a bit of visibility of the apex, because it's quite difficult when you're tucked in behind someone to actually sort of sight the critical markers around the circuit. But anyway, we continue to push on, and we are gaining on Alonso. We're getting a good slipstream here, a little bit cautious into Ascari just to make sure we get through here. Again, we run wide there, and up and over the curb on the inside, so that's not really ideal for our exit. But if we get a good run through Parabolica, we'll have a nice slipstream along the main straight.
Just focus on the driving.
And potentially we can go for another lap and start it off very well in that way. So we'll see what we can do as we now get onto the straight, and see, here's the good slipstream, and Alonso I think is on a cool down lap now, so he moves out of the way after dishing out a lovely toe for us, and we go around the outside and gain half a second into the first corner. That's a huge benefit, but if we throw it all the way there on the exit and drop a few tenths, and we drop even more. We're red briefly there on the way into Ascari. We're green again though, so we still can improve our time as we lose control on the inside curb into the wall, and that is our qualifying session done. We still have all the wheels intact, but with damage
to the rear wing, recommend you box for repairs.
To various other parts of the car, I think that is it. We won't have time after they repair the car. There's just not enough time left in the session, unfortunately, so that is it for qualifying. We're going to qualify a maximum of P3, really disappointing.
We're all ready for tomorrow's race, but before we begin, let's have a quick look at those who will be fronting the grid. Verstappen, Perez, and the scientist. With qualifying wrapped up, we now have our grid lineup for the big race tomorrow. Be sure to join us then for what will no doubt be a fantastic race.
And it's a front row lockout for Red Bull. Jenson Button even worse, he's down in 6th position, so that's really not what we needed. But yeah, there we go. Unfortunately, that's the way it is today, and we'll have to just work with less than ideal starting positions. I mean, we're not too bad. P3, second row. We just got the Red Bulls to deal with, but Jenson Button, I would have expected a little more from him because he showed good pace throughout Q1 and 2. So yeah, that's it's a shame. I don't know, he must have maybe encountered some traffic in Q3, but anyway, let's get into the race.
Welcome back to one of only 2 countries that has held a race every year since the very first Formula One World Championship in 1950. It is, of course, Italy, one of the great racing nations. And it's time to get underway for the Italian Grand Prix. With top speeds reaching 215 miles per hour, only a few places can challenge Monza's crown as the fastest circuit in F1. Hard braking zones going into the 3 chicanes make up the majority of the 11 corners on this 3.6-mile circuit. And just in case the slipstream wasn't enough, 2 DRS zones will help encourage some closer action. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Young superstar Max Verstappen starts from pole position. Sergio Perez lines up alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have the scientist, Norris, Charles Leclerc and Button, Sainz, Hamilton, Ricciardo and Fernando Alonso, Ocon, Mazepin, Pierre Gasly and Russell, Latifi, Matsushita, Antonio Giovinazzi and Lance Stroll, Sato, Bottas, Mick Schumacher and Guan Yu Zhou. And now it's time to head down to the track.
After the points finish last race, let's aim to keep the momentum going.
We will certainly try to keep the momentum going. From the third place, second row, we should be in for a good result here. We're going to go for the one-stop strategy, soft tyres to the mediums. We should be able to do that pretty easily, so yeah, that shouldn't be too much of an issue for us. We'll be able to have one less stop maybe than a few of our rivals. We'll see as we go to 5 red lights. Apologies for the quiet audio at the start, but the audio quality just sounded rubbish. So I turned it down. But anyway, we're underway for the Italian Grand Prix. It's a great start for Sergio Perez, and he takes the lead down into the first corner. Max Verstappen maintains second position. We'll hold third as we get up the inside of Verstappen into turn 2, and we get the move done ahead of Max Verstappen, and we manage to sneak through there. Sergio Perez is miles in front. He has absolutely taken off in this Italian Grand Prix, and that'll be a huge benefit to the beginning of his race, as we now have to defend from Verstappen into the Della Roggia chicane. We hold on to the position as the field stack up behind. Jenson Button's made a couple of spots off the start. He's up into 4th as he got a little bit deep into the first Lesmo, and Verstappen's around. Into the wall goes Verstappen. What happened there? Max Verstappen crashing out in the early phase of this one, and by not even halfway through the first lap, Max Verstappen contact with us and straight into the barriers. What on earth was he doing there? Let's have a look on board and see. We ran a bit wide, but Verstappen just, I don't know, just drove straight into the side of us, and into the wall he went, and the front right rear wheel along with the front wing assembly torn off of that car as we head into the pit lane. Warning, the volume about to increase again, and there it is. As we now pit to get a new front wing on our car. I don't actually know when we got front wing damage. We maybe made a bit of slight contact with Verstappen down at turn 2, which might be why we got so much understeer at the first Lesmo. I'm not sure, but whatever happened, Verstappen is out, and we are tumbling down to the back of the field with this front wing change. It won't change our strategy. We will still do one more stop from here, but we have a lot of work to do. There was a virtual safety car, but that didn't really help us in any way. Hello?
Tyre condition is still looking good.
And no other damage to the car from that contact, so...
Caution, the virtual safety car has just been deployed.
Another virtual safety car, and this one is for Lance Stroll, who goes for a spin down at the first corner. And, ooh, it looked like there might have been a bit more contact further back in the field. Looks like Stroll got away with it. Here's the replay. And, yeah, I think Stroll just about got away with that without any damage. We'll see the onboard with Matsushita will give us a clearer view, and yeah, I think they got away with contact there, but definitely some cars further back coming together. We go on board with Nicholas Latifi, and yeah, he got a hit from behind, I think, did Latifi. So yeah, a bit of damage for Antonio Giovinazzi, who ran into the back of him. Marino Sato says, nope, I'm not going to have any part in that, and he just cuts straight across the chicane and gets moving again. And I believe there were other cars involved in that as well. By the time we get there, it's all cleared up, and we don't have anything to worry about. But the virtual safety car still deployed at that moment as we get racing again. Though Mick Schumacher very slow around the final corner, so I imagine Schumacher was one of the cars involved, and he will pull into the pits to get a front wing change, as will Antonio Giovinazzi, and that moves us up 2 spots and into 19th position. We continue on, and we are now catching a gaggle of cars, tail-ended currently by Lance Stroll as we go a little bit wide on the exit there, and no damage to the car thankfully, so we can push on. But Lance Stroll trying to make the move down the inside. We're going to go to the outside, and we sandwich the Alfa Romeo car, and there's actually, we almost made another Alfa Romeo sandwich, so Guan Yu Zhou and Marino Sato getting in amongst it, but we do pass Guan Yu Zhou, Sato, the car ahead of us now, along with Matsushita. So the 2 Japanese drivers in the field line astern. We separate them though down at the Della Roggia chicane, and we get the move done there, as we now have moved ourselves up into 16th position. Nobuharu Matsushita, our next target, but he himself is making a move on Valtteri Bottas, and we're going to make it 3 wide with 2 wheels in the grass on the left there, but we get the move done on Matsushita and Bottas, and that moves us up another handful of spots, and now we're going to get another one as we catch up to Nicholas Latifi.
Just ahead. Push for the position. Okay, gap
and
ahead is
the next car
12.2 seconds.
Is George Russell, a long way ahead, but we do eventually catch up to George Russell, who is putting the pressure on Pierre Gasly at the moment. So Russell having a decent race here as we get past him, and now we begin the chase of Pierre Gasly. In fact, look at the power of the DRS along the straight here. We are gaining so much speed. Gasly defends. We go to the outside of the Frenchman, and we're just going to sweep around and take it. And Gasly had no chance to defend that. We went deep though, and Gasly switches back, and great driving there by the Frenchman to get back alongside as we go now side by side through Curva Grande, but we get back in front as we gave him the elbow
Just focus on the driving.
through there, as he was not giving us a huge amount of space on the inside for my wobbly driving.
Just ahead. Push for the position. The gap to the car ahead is 11.0 seconds.
And the next battle we have is not with Mazepin, it's with Charles Leclerc, who has now made a stop a few laps later in this race, and you can see we are defending for our lives as we get past one of the lap cars. I assume that is Mick Schumacher there. He has had a tough run so far, as we have a bit of a moment on the exit of the second Lesmo, and now Charles Leclerc will get through, but you saw we were briefly up into 3rd position with everyone else making their first of 2 stops, it seems, for them. But Charles Leclerc on a brand new set of soft tyres, we cannot compete with him, and he is off and blazing into the distance. Now we're under fire from Lando Norris,
Still looking good.
and he gets through as well, so nothing we can do there. And Norris is through. We have a little look to the outside. Maybe we can get a nice run onto the straight with a later I would say apex, but we were nowhere near it, as we now duck into the slipstream of Lando Norris. DRS open, and look at the speed we're gaining. The revs rise. as we go to the left-hand side of Lando Norris, who's defending all the way into the pit exit there. We go way too late on the brakes, though. We go bumping over the curbs and rejoin the circuit, but we've well and truly lost the position now. Thankfully, no damage to the car once again. But, oh, that is one of the Alfa Romeos off the road. That is Marino Sato going for a spin there, off into the gravel. I think he just about keeps it off the wall and then just waits off to the side to make sure he's not going to get in anybody's way as he rejoins the circuit. But Marino Sato going for a spin there, and he just patiently waits until he can get moving again. But in fact, they actually bring out the safety car because he was waiting for so long. And the safety car now out on the circuit to give Sato a chance to get moving again. So a bit of extreme measure there, but nonetheless we'll take it, because that is perfectly timed for our pit stop onto the medium compound tyres. And not only will it be virtually a free pit stop, but also it is going to close us up to the front of the field again. So we're going to be down in 11th position, so we have lost a bit of track position there, but everyone else will have a stop to go, and we will have the tyres to go to the end from here. So it's looking good despite a lack of track position.
In this lap. Let's make sure those tyres are up to temperature, and remember, there is no overtaking until the timing line.
And now we are ready to go again. We've got a few lap cars in the way that we need to watch out for, but hopefully we can clear them without too much of an issue. We didn't get a great safety car restart, unfortunately. I was ready to go and sort of try and line up a good run, and then I think I went a bit early and had to lift. But anyway, we go for the move down the inside, and we clear a bunch of the lap cars there as we're running side by side with the Alfa Romeo car, but we get through, and that is job done. And radio not working there, but we made our way through there as we have to dodge another lap car there, and we go into the grass a bit as we head into the braking zone too deep, bumping over the curbs and very slow through the Della Roggia, and George Russell managed to get past us, so he made very quick work of the lap cars while we were absolutely fumbling around.
No tyre concerns at the moment, just focus on the driving.
So we made a real mess of that safety car restart. That should have been a good opportunity for us to make a move on Esteban Ocon, who was ahead, but yeah, we were not able to do anything, and that is a missed opportunity. But anyway, out of the Parabolica, we'll have a good chance to do something about George Russell here as we sit in the slipstream, and we'll make the move to the left hand side, and that will be an easy enough move to get done as we complete it around the outside of George Russell. And now we can shift our focus on to Esteban Ocon as we take 11th position back, and we continue on, and eventually, after all, it took a while, but we did catch up to Esteban Ocon. We had to wait for his soft tyres to go off because at the time he actually had a fairly similar pace to us at that moment. But anyway, we eventually make the move around the outside of Ocon, who was putting the block on down into Ascari, but we got that move done, and now we've made our way up into 10th position. Next up is Nikita Mazepin, who is having a scrap at the moment with Fernando Alonso. Mazepin to the outside as Alonso defends down into the first corner, and Mazepin might just get clear here. Alonso later on the brakes though, and the wily old Spanish driver keeping the fight going. Around the outside he goes, and with a great exit, Alonso is going to hold on as Mazepin is still trying. He's still got the nose in on the inside as they head towards the Della Roggia chicane. Who's going to brake later here? Mazepin has the inside line, but sometimes the outside can work. Alonso late on the brakes again. He's going to sweep around. Mazepin has the tight line and he can't do anything with it, and Alonso holds the position. So good job Fernando Alonso holding off Mazepin, who's clearly got more pace at the moment. And now we are joining the fight as well, so can we get involved here as those two continue to scrap away? We don't want to get held up behind them when they're running side by side through all of the chicanes. So let's see what we can do. Mazepin to the outside again. Alonso covers the inside as they run side by side into the Variante del Rettifilia. Once again, contact into the back of Mazepin we go, and we are so lucky not to get damage from that, as Mazepin was a bit slower on the apex there than I was expecting him to be, but nonetheless we will continue to march on. We've got a great run here in the slipstream of Mazepin. We go down the inside and we get Alonso as well. Can we get a stop? Yes, we will. And that's a double overtake into the De La Roja chicane, and that is a nice move on the two of them, and that moves us up into 8th position. Remember that all of these cars around us still have a stop to make. We just don't want to be held up behind them any longer, and we continue on, and eventually those stops begin to be made, and we move our way up into 4th position, and eventually
Okay, gap ahead is 4.5 seconds.
up into the lead as everyone else makes their final stops. Now they will all have fresh medium tyres as Sergio Perez comes out of pit lane right in front of Jenson Button, who was trying the undercut, but unfortunately it didn't work for him. And yeah, that's a shame. But laps later, and Button is trying to get the move done on Perez, but he just can't quite get there. So it's a shame, but I think that might be his best chance gone of taking 2nd position. Bit of a moment there for us at the exit of the Ascari chicane, and that's going to bring Sergio Perez into contention with us, and that might end the battle he's having with Button, because if Perez gets DRS from us, that will make him near impossible to overtake for Button. So we need to try and hold the gap to Perez for Button's sake, but remember we have old tyres, so that's going to be a very difficult task. And you can see again we're really struggling through Ascari, and Perez is right on our tail. He's got a great run, he's passed us, and now he's already a few car lengths ahead. So Sergio Perez is a lot stronger through Ascari than we are, but along the pit straight we have a much better run with the aid of DRS and a better exit out of Parabolica. We aggressively cover him off there, and we make a point there of retaking the lead. A lot of wheel spin on the exit though, and now we may be in trouble as we head towards the De La Roja chicane. Perez back through. We duck straight into the slipstream though as soon as we can. Perez defends all the way to the inside. We go around the outside of Sergio Perez, a little bit deep, but we've got the job down. Back up and into back up into the lead. Perez down into 2nd position. Button not able to make a move there, despite both of us having a rubbish exit out of the De La Roja chicane. But the fight is far from over, because Perez again a great exit out of Ascari, and we just can't do anything there. We have a look up the inside into Parabolica. We can't do anything into the final corner, and Perez is now getting away as we're looking back at Jenson Button. We will have the aid of DRS though, so that could save us here. And Button has an issue. He's slowing down. Jenson Button could be out of the race here. What's going on with our teammate? He's got smoke pouring out the back, and that is surely a mechanical failure for Jenson Button. What a shame. He was having a great run up in 3rd position, and it was going to be a double podium. We send one down the inside of Sergio Perez after seeing that. We are not going to let the Mexican get away, and we moved our way back up into the lead. Bit of contact made down at turn 1, but nonetheless we got the move done. And here's Jenson Button just limping off the track, and he is out. What a disaster. But we continue to fight with Sergio Perez as the laps go on, and again he's really strong out of Ascari. We just cannot get off that corner with any kind of momentum, and Perez always takes a position there. We just can't do anything, so it's really frustrating because if this battle continues in this manner, look, what's this? He's crossing the line in 1st, despite the fact we're leading 90% of each lap. Perez is crossing the line 1st each time, so we can't allow this to happen. We need to find a way to cross the line 1st at the end of the race.
Jenson's dropped out of the race.
As we do manage to retake the lead down to the 1st corner, as we always do. But once again, out of Ascari. Perez very strong there, and now we're trying to make a move around the outside as we head through Parabolica. But Perez holds on as we made a bit of contact there as we were trying to switch back to the inside. We misjudged that one slightly. Thankfully again no damage. I don't know how we've got away with so much contact and so little damage in this one, as we've now going to go to the outside of Sergio Perez, and we'll make the move stick into turn 1 a little bit deep there, and very aggressive on the exit, almost running him out of road. We're just clear of him I think, but he had a moment as well. So yeah, it's getting very tense, this fight with Sergio Perez. Again, he's through into Parabolica, and we'll try and get a nice run on the exit. We get a beautiful exit out of Parabolica, and we're ahead of Perez before we even get the DRS. And now it's open. We should be able to pull away as he's right underneath us in the slipstream, but the DRS more powerful, and Sergio Perez not able to do anything there with the straight line speed we have in that situation. So yeah, we're going to need to do something like that if we want to win this race, but yeah, it's really tough to stay in contention with Perez through Ascari. He just has so much more pace, but now he's actually really struggling. He's really dropped off there. Perez got a problem. Sergio Perez is pulling into the pit lane. Sergio Perez has had a major issue. What's happened here? I don't know. Did he make any contact here? No. He just started slowing down, so I don't know what happened with Sergio Perez, but somehow he's got an issue and he's pulling into the pits for an unscheduled stop as we go very deep into the first corner, bumping over the curbs there. No damage done, and we've got a gap to the next car behind, so no issue for us. But what has happened to Sergio Perez, I have no clue. But he's gone tumbling down the order and has a lot of work to do if he wants to score any decent number of points in this race. So yeah, it's going to be tricky as we are now navigating our way through some more lapped cars in the closing stages of this one. We've moved on now to the penultimate lap of the race, and Lando Norris is now our biggest threat, and he is gaining big. So Lando Norris has plenty of pace towards the end of this race, and it's not out of the question for him to steal it, especially if we have a bit of a moment like that on the final lap. That wasn't too bad, but we can't afford to do that with the car behind us.
Second lap to the car behind, 1 second.
And yeah, Norris a second lap faster, and if you look at the gap, 8 tenths, Norris is flying. He could well steal this one at the back end of the race. Right now, no one in the top 5 with the fastest lap. That will likely go to Sergio Perez. So if he is in the top 10, he will get those that bonus point, I should say. So that's good for him. But yeah, very disappointing that he is not up here fighting with us still. But back to this fight at the front then, and look at Lando Norris. He is getting close, but we've got a lap car in front of us. That is a Zhou Guanyu, and we're going to get the DRS from the Chinese driver. Despite him being a lap down, he may help us out here as we get the slipstream as well down towards Ascari. That might give us the buffer we need if we have another issue on the exit. We go nicely through the first 2 corners, but miss the apex of the third, and now Lando Norris will be coming. But look at the gap we were able to open up to Lando. He's closing though, and he might have a look here to the outside. It's going to be tight whether we can hold him off or not. We've got the inside line though, we're parking it right on the apex, and Lando can't do anything around the outside. And we're going to do the job here in Italy and win the Italian Grand Prix.
That was on fire!
And that was
Absolutely fantastic. It's a brilliant result. Well done.
And Zhou Guanyu definitely saved us there. It would have been a tough ask for us to come back if Norris got through.
Here we are then, a real team effort to overcome their rivals for a memorable win here today. Anthony, tell me, what was it that helped them achieve this success?
It was a question of right place, right time today. We were looking at an entirely different race before the safety car came out, but they were able to take full advantage after the field had been bunched up.
Well, what a thrilling end to an incredible Grand Prix weekend. Our top 3 finishers should be incredibly happy with what they were able to achieve out there today.
So we win the Italian Grand Prix. Lando Norris finishes in 2nd position, and Charles Leclerc brings home a podium for Ferrari at their home race.
The scientist increases their championship lead. Some amazing talent out on the track today. But Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
I have to give it to the scientist. Look at where they finished compared to where they started. It's not easy to cut through the field like that in Formula 1, so it was a great effort.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. The current leaders continue to extend their lead at the top. There was also a strong showing from the McLaren team today as they make their way up the standings. Well, that was certainly an incredible weekend of racing. Be sure to join myself and Ant for more exciting Formula 1 action soon.
Alrighty, so let's see what this race has done to the championship standings. We'll start by having a run through the results. Obviously, it was a 1st place finish for us and a no score for Jenson Button. But looking down the rest of the field, you've just seen the podium of Norris and Leclerc 2nd and 3rd. 4th place for Carlos Sainz, 5th for Daniel Ricciardo, so it's a great race for McLaren and Ferrari. They fill in the positions from 2nd down to 5th. Sergio Perez recovered to 6th position with the fastest lap point. Fernando Alonso, great result in 7th ahead of Nikita Mazepin. Lewis Hamilton, who had to make an extra stop at some point and finishing behind his teammate by a few seconds. Next behind him is Esteban Ocon, who was the final runner in the top 10. Pierre Gasly just missing out behind Esteban Ocon, about 5 seconds away from some AlphaTauri points, which I'm sure they would have greatly appreciated. But anyway, as for the Drivers' Championship, we have stretched our lead massively in this one, with all of our main contenders sort of falling away, except for Charles Leclerc, who's climbed his way up into 4th in the climbs way up into 4th in the standings. We lead the way ahead of Max Verstappen in 2nd, who is 32 points adrift. Perez is 3rd, currently 36 points away. Then Leclerc 37 points, Button 40 points, followed by Hamilton 41 and Ricciardo 46 points adrift. So yeah, it's going to be difficult for any of them to catch up, but you never know. Crazier things have happened. As for the Constructors' Championship, we lead the way there by 28 points ahead of Red Bull, followed then by Ferrari 54 points adrift of us. So yeah, it's mostly between us and Red Bull for the team's championship, but of course plenty left to play out. Currently Haas yet to score points, along with Alfa Romeo, no points for them either. Aston Martin on 2 points, along with AlphaTauri. So for those teams at the bottom, a point or two here and there will really make a huge difference. So it's very disappointing for them to miss out on points in a race like this, where a few high-profile runners did have some issues, but Alpine were the ones to make the most of that, and they now sit on a very healthy 8 points behind Mercedes, who are on 78 points. So it kind of shows the difference between the top 5 teams and everyone else. So it's really, really tough for anyone outside the top 5 teams to score points this season. It's crazy.
Great work out there today. Let's have your thoughts. It's looking like a winner has emerged in the championship. Is it in the bag?
Oh no, far from it. There is still plenty left to play out in this one. We could get a podium in every race and still lose at this point. So
how do you think this team will be feeling after that result?
I think Haas will be, I don't know.
It was more like Dodgems than Formula 1 today, wasn't it?
Yeah, we had a few little bumps with a few other cars, and there was a bit of chaos as well down at the first corner, but yeah, it's just happens sometimes.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Claire. Alrighty then. So, where does this leave us in terms of our rivalry? I think we may lose that one to Sergio Perez, unfortunately, because he was able to out-qualify us. If it wasn't for that, maybe we would have had a chance to beat him in this race, but he got a faster lap than us as well. So
our margins are looking good right now. I think we've got room for some more investment.
Yeah, he had a lot in his favour this weekend, and I don't think we were able to win that one. So yeah, it's a shame. But anyway, that's what's happened. We'll lose a bit of a claim for that. But anyway,
unfortunately, we need you to step in and make an executive decision here.
We have a decision to make, and once again, one of our employees has gotten themselves in trouble. And we can once again choose to fire them, or again take the apology option, which of course we're going to do, because I mean, who would fire a member of staff? They're a valuable member of the team. Something. The team morale is better, and to be honest, we don't need either of these things. We don't need a claim. We don't need morale. We're like, at this point, they sort of stuff isn't actually going to help us.
Thank you.
So the decision doesn't actually matter too much, because we've got a maxed out car, and money isn't really going to help us at this stage, because we've got our second driver has already got maximum stats. So investing in the personnel facility isn't going to do anything, and investing in any of the other facilities is also not going to do anything because we've got all the upgrades on the car, so we don't need money, we don't need acclaim. Yeah, we we don't really need anything at this point. But anyway, we continue to do all of these things just for the fun of it, I suppose. But anyway, as for R&D, there's really not a lot we can do. We just have to hope the upgrades go on. That's really all there is left in that department. So yeah, that is kind of crazy. It's the first time I've had a completely maxed out car on this channel. I have back in F1 2018, before I was making videos, I've had plenty of maxed out cars, but I did about 8 seasons on that game. Actually, I did 8 seasons until my game save got corrupted, and then I did another 5 or so after that. But yeah. Anyway, we go through the timeline, and we'll work through all of our activities until we are interrupted by a personnel department event. And as always, when we get personnel department events, I try to locate Jensen Button's stats to see what we could potentially focus on. But obviously he's 100 all round now, except for pace. We're still waiting for that facility upgrade to come through.
Okay, now this is an interesting one.
But yeah, that will happen soon enough. But anyway, the department events in this particular situation is about Paddock Pass. They want to plan a new series where they go behind the scenes, blah 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 blah. If we accept, we get a bunch of acclaim, so we're going to do that. So we move on to the timeline again. We get that simulator upgrade, which is awesome. We'll have that for Jensen Button, and he will be now a maximum stats driver. Unfortunately though, our R&D upgrade for the durability failed, so we won't have that going into the next round. We'll have to fix that one up. But yeah, that is just about it. So yeah, I'll just say thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Really appreciate it. Feel free to give me some feedback in the comments. It's always very helpful. Other than that, I'll see you next time. Goodbye.